Greetings, everybody. Greetings. How's everyone doing tonight? Okay, we have a rare Falcon Blizzak live stream today. I know my banners and stuff say Tuesday and Friday, but it happens to be a Wednesday. But we have to get through something that is quite pressing. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. But please, if you can, if you're in the building tonight, please press a 1 just to confirm that you can hear me loud and clear. I am using the good mic. Unfortunately, not on camera, but don't fret. You can see my handsome faces in my usual video, so check my video tab. Last video was about the fighter's life. Okay, so I've been focusing more so on a lot of videos this month. Okay, I salute to everyone in the building. I'm seeing the ones from Wing Kaz, J. Lou, KB Jones. Salute, perfect. I appreciate that. Perfect. Good to have everyone in the building. Look, I want to change the format a little bit. I don't want to be too showy, right? I want to try to get to the heart of this issue because this issue very pressing. Okay, so basically in the stream we're going to shed light on what exactly has been happening in Peckham. Okay, for those of you who might not be from these isles, okay, Peckham is in the area of southeast London, which has for me always been the heart of the Black British community. But of course I have a bias towards London. Okay, some people might disagree, but Peckham, in my opinion, one of those districts that are well known to house Black people, okay, people of Black British African descent and Black British Caribbean descent. Okay, I was born and raised in Peckham, so I know Peckham like the back of my hand. I can tell you how it was 20 to 30 years ago. I know the difference between then and now. Okay, back in the day, Peckham High Street, this is the area that this incident took place. Okay, Peckham High Street was lined up with many, many Black-owned businesses. You know, typically there were Black beauty shops, hair shops, nail shops. You know, selling all our creams and lotions. Okay, you know, hair extensions, obviously, hair extension weaves. I got my 360 waves from there. You know, the sporting waves, all my do rags I got from there, all my creams, my cocoa butter. Right? Does anyone remember, anyone who knows about Peckham, anyone remembers the shop called Yinka Bodyline? Yinka Bodyline. Yinka Bodyline was a massive Nigerian-owned branch of Black beauty suppliers, okay? But I remember a few years ago, they got closed down because they were selling bleaching creams. And it's quite funny that the current stores who are there right now also sell the same creams, but they seem to get off scot-free, but that's another topic. So looking back 20 years ago, I would say Peckham High Street had many, many Black-owned businesses, right? But something happened. Something happened. At some point in time, the Black-owned businesses, the Black-owned shops started to sell out. Meaning they started to sell their businesses away. I know a few of them just moved away from the UK, probably went back to whatever country they originate from, right? But there was this transition where a lot of these Black-owned businesses started to fall into the hands of Asians, okay? So these are predominantly South Asians. You know, there could be Indians, maybe Bangladeshis, maybe Pakistani, right? So now if you walk down Peckham High Street, in fact, you know what, let's actually go on a tour as I speak about this, man. Let's go on a tour right now. With the power of technology, let's both walk through Peckham High Street. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, with the power of technology, let's put my little man in Peckham, Rye Lane, and let's take a tour to Peckham High Street. Let me make this a full screen. How can I do that? Zoom. Let's go Peckham High Street. So this is Peckham High Street. I'm in the Rye Lane. This is the most industrious road in Peckham, right? So now it's changed a bit. For example, you can see Nando's here, which in my day wasn't there. Behind there, you can see the Peckham Library. Okay, but if we go further down, okay, we can see typical shops like Savers. Where are we? Greg's, EE. You know, your typical high street shops, typical stuff. Let's try and get central. When we go past this area, okay, we get a shop here. Not this one, it's that one. Okay, Faz. This is a good example. If we get past the bus, this is a good example. Okay, this is a good example of a shop that was once owned by Black Africans, and now it's basically owned by Asians. Okay, British Asians. Okay, so as you can see by the window, this shop is basically sold towards black people. Black people, these are supplies that we would use as black people, right? We got everything from sponges for showering to wigs, right? So this has pretty much been the theme in Peckham. A lot of these black hair shops that were once black owned are now owned by Asians. Okay, you can tell here this shop Shaba. You can see by the there's a bit of Arabic on the shop floor. Sorry, on the entrance, and that usually denotes that the people inside, the owners, are usually of Asian heritage. Okay, so this is Peckham, and this is the situation. You see, we got Afro foods, and if you look closely, look at the butchers. Butchers wearing white. The butchers in this Afro food shop, Asian. Okay, selling goods like plantain, stuff that black people will usually go to. And this is the shop in question where this incident happened. Okay, Peckham Hair and Cosmetics. Right on the on the windows, you can see black beauty products, black people being advertised. Okay, so I just thought it would be nice to give you a bit of an illustration of what we're talking about. But this is a typical theme. Okay, and in Peckham is predominantly, like I said, black people, a massive black demographic in Peckham, right? So, myself included, okay, this has been something that's been happening. Black people, ever since the transition where the black hair shops, the black businesses have been owned by Asians, black people have often complained of bad treatment when shopping in these shops. Okay, so I'm talking about excessive surveillance, general bad service, like when you're receiving your change, kind of dropped your change in your hand in somewhat of an arrogant manner, right? And to be honest with you, because I often want to take an objective stance when I do stuff like this, to be honest with you, in my experience, that's been the case as well. And I haven't shopped in these shops for a long time because I've since moved out of this area a long time ago. But when I'm there, I'm trying to get my black hair supplies, right? There is this air, unfortunately, of disrespect, kind of looking down on you, kind of, and being over vigilant in terms of the security, right? So there's been a lot of black people complaining of bad service from these shops. And so basically, here we are this week. So this is basically what happened this week. Let's just go into the video that is causing the stir. 1 second. Let me just flip a few things. Let me show this up. But salute to everyone in the building. I'm going to come to you in a bit. I just want to kind of be snappy in my intros. Let's see what we got. In fact, let me just share the whole. Let me share the whole thing. Let's see what we got. So let's see. We got a video here, I believe. So. Okay, contains some violence. Okay, so if you're of faint heart, you might want to look away. Okay, but this is what happened basically. Okay, so that's basically what happened. And since we're here, let me show you similar things that are happening. Shout out to people. Shout out to the people. The people in the South Refinement City sharing the news. Okay, so we got this clip as well. I don't know if this is related, but this is pretty much something that's been happening in these shops. Okay? Who heard that auntie say, "Call police"? Jeez. You know what I hate, man? I just have to stop it. You know what I hate? You know what I hate, man? You can hear in the back people saying, "Oh, shh." Like, that's just, I don't know, man. I don't like bystanders that are just there looking for entertainment. You know what I mean? Just, oh, shh. You know? Oh, sorry, the video has no sound, man. This is, let's see what we can do. The video has no sound. Let's try again. If you can hear it, just press a one in the chat. Did you hear that? Did you hear that part? Press a one if you heard that. Call police. Damn, guys. Okay, appreciate the feedback. Let's see if we can quickly sort it out. But if not, no worries, man. We don't need to hear much. But let's see. If the speaker is linked to this, then it should be linked to that, and then therefore you should be able to hear it now. Can you hear it now? Okay, appreciate JM Talks, man. Man, okay. Um, okay, one more thing to try. Apologies for these technical difficulties, man. I don't know why the connection is different. I think it's because of my mic. I put the mic to the side. Billy the Goat says, if you use Chrome as your browser, you can click on sharing audio. Oh, the sound came? The sound came? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Okay, let's hear it one more time. Look, for the free Pete, let's hear it one more time. Hey, I just need to comment on this, man. The way this guy is holding up this girl, man, I don't understand it. Like, it's a funny position to just have a full Nelson on a chick. But this is basically the situations that's been going down in these shops. Okay, I appreciate everyone that gave me tips on the audio. Appreciate that. But this is basically what's been going down. Okay, so I mean, let's read a brief article. Okay, this is by BBC, and it's a fairly neutral article, I think. But let's briefly read what's been happening, and then we will go into, we'll go deeper. And like before, like normal, this is a call-in show. The link to call in is in the chat. So if you want to get your points across, feel free to chime in a bit. Okay. Someone said, so that's jokes. That's jokes. And one thing I want to say, man, again, coming from the martial arts angle, is that if you need to fight, please learn how to fight. All these blows that have no effect and people are just flinging their limbs around, man. At least do something that will actually hurt people. And I'm not condoning violence, by the way, but I'm just saying. But anyway, let's check out this article. A 45-year-old man has been interviewed under caution by the Met Police after a video circulated of a woman being restrained by a male shopkeeper. Okay, so that is basically this scene. Okay. Okay, so that was the shop I showed you in the opener. Hundreds of people gathered to protest outside Peckham Hair and Cosmetics. That's a shop in Rye Lane. On Tuesday, where the woman had been accused of theft. Okay, so key points to take note if you want to come up with your opinions. Okay, this woman has been accused of theft. Okay, chants of quote unquote "you touch one, you touch all" were heard, and signs held saying "keep your hands off black women." Okay, the shopkeeper told the BBC the footage had been viewed out of context. He said the footage on social media, this is the shopkeeper speaking now, was cropped and did not show the whole incident in full. The shop remains closed and shuttered. A 31-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of assault on Tuesday and later released on bail. People in Peckham were asked to remain calm after the video was circulated on social media. The footage, which has been viewed more than 1 million times, appears to show a black woman inside the shop being grabbed by a much larger Asian man on Monday. The woman struggled and hit the man with a shopping basket, which broke. The man then held her by her arms and neck. Okay, so again, that's the shop that I showed you in Google Maps. Okay. Speaking to the BBC after Monday's incident, but before Tuesday afternoon's protest, the shopkeeper said the woman had become aggressive when she was refused a refund on products. Okay, so it seems like she was going back to get a refund on products and they refused to give her a refund. She had previously bought at the store. Okay, so quote unquote, he said, "We do not give refunds, we exchange items or give a credit note." So she grabbed some stuff, 3 packs of hair from the shelf and tried to leave. She was leaving and I was stopping her. Okay, so apparently from this guy's point of view, they have a no refunds policy. He told her that she can exchange the product. She didn't want it. She didn't have it. And so she took items and was about to leave the shop, apparently, or allegedly. Okay. He continued and says, "I was stopping her. She slapped me in the face and grabbed the shopping basket and hit me on the head. I don't know when my hand goes around her neck. I was keeping her neutralized. I did not hit her. The video was cropped. People are acting at the half-truth." Okay. I don't even want to search for it, man, but we can clearly see that this man had his hands around her neck. I mean, let me quickly do a quick search, man. I had to just turn off the screen just in case. You never know what I got in these tabs, just in case. Okay, protest in Peckham. Most of the images are blurred, okay? But if we just, the first image that pops up, we can clearly see this man has his hands around her neck. Okay, I know that's a small image, but clearly this man has his hands around her neck, right? Okay. I think that's also a key point, because boy, that looks excessive to me. That looks like a death attack, regardless of what's going on, regardless of someone taking poxy, small items from your shop. Like putting your hands around someone's neck is extreme, in my opinion. But that's what we can see. Okay, so let's see. So some person who filmed a viral video while she was shopping in the store said she had begun filming because she felt that was happening was not fair. What was happening was not fair. Okay, so this is the person who was filming. I felt horrible when I saw that in front of me, she told the BBC. The man saw me recording the video, and I'm saying that I'm going to call the police a few times. Okay, she says, I'm a young girl. I was like, imagine if that happened to me. I'm not going to be okay with that. I would like someone to share that on social media. Okay, so the incident drew hundreds of participants at the organized protest on Tuesday in Peckham, right? So we get the idea, protest that happened, and that's the situation right now. Some protests kick the shutter storefront, while others actively work to calm feelings down. Okay, so the typical stuff might happen. Let's see what else is crucial. So this guy, okay, this is a protester called Marlon. He's a 40-year-old artist and youth worker who attended the protest, and he told BBC that there's a hierarchy in this country, and unfortunately, black women are always at the bottom of the hierarchy. Okay, I'm fed up with being on the street because I've seen a video of a black woman being abused by a man. The sad fact is, whenever I open social media, I should be prepared to see some kind of abuses being inflicted on a black person. Okay, that's what he's saying. I'm here not to speak up for myself, but to speak up for the black women and the black children who are coming up after us. We can't be scared to raise our voice because of what might happen. Okay, so that's what this activist is saying. Okay. Just to gauge the temperature in the chat, I appreciate everyone in the building, man, and I'm gonna shout you out. Feel free to support the show by liking the stream if you're enjoying it so far. If it pertains to you, feel free to like the stream. But please, if you can, from what you know and from what I've read, if you think the woman in question is guilty, press 1. If you think the woman in question is innocent, press 2. I know that's a bit of a simpleton question. We don't know much as well, but I just want to see how you feel. Like, is the man in the wrong for putting his hands around her neck, or is the woman guilty? Press 1 for guilty, 2 for not guilty. Okay, we got feedback coming in. James Talk says 1 guilty. Billy the Goat says 1 guilty. Okay. So another protester, okay, Simone Goodies, who joined the protest, said that she was shocked and angry when she saw the viral video. Okay, it made me feel scared. And I was shocked as well because I come in this shop all the time. This shop is targeted at black women. They sell all stuff for black women. We're the ones who come here and buy their stuff, but they don't respect us. They have no right to treat people like that. After the protest, handwritten messages covered the shop's metal shutters. Okay, one sign read, "Protect Black Women," while others contained strongly worded and offensive messages. Okay, the Metropolitan Police and the London Mayor have both said they understand why Londoners might be concerned about the footage, but urge people to remain calm. Okay, so that is pretty much what has been happening. Okay, I want to briefly give my thoughts. I know we're coming up to a half an hour in. I want to briefly give my thoughts, but before then, one second. Let me just remove this. No, actually, I'm just gonna give my thoughts now. I'm like, F it. We can. I see someone in the back. Salute. I'll bring you up in a sec. Okay. When we do the community, I call that part of the community where you chip in and tell us what you think. Okay, or call in. I'm just gonna give my thoughts from what I've read, and to be fair, this is news to me. You know, I appreciate everyone in the South Refinement City, the Discord that wanted, that brought this to my attention and stuff like that. Okay, but these are my thoughts, man. These are my thoughts. I took brief notes while going through this article. Like we have spoken about this before, right? Like the fact that Asian people are owning stores that cater to black people. And my first thought is, how has it come to that? How is it? And I'm not mad. Like, I'm not, like, honestly, I have no beef with the Asian people that managed to figure out how to get in the monopoly of selling black products to black people in a black district of London. I'm not mad at the hustle and the strategy. That's good for them. But for black people, how has it come to that? Where black people are at the mercy of other people to sell them the goods that they need, that are essential to them. So off rip in that position, obviously that's going to be a weak position to be in. So of course at points there's going to be some disrespect, because it's like, hey, look at these dumb people. They're buying their own stuff from us. Can you imagine going to somewhere like Bow, East London, and a Nigerian person owns a curry shop selling Indian food, selling naan bread and jalfrezi and chicken korma. Where does that happen? Can you imagine a Jamaican person selling, pork fried rice with Chinese dragons in the entrance? In fact, something that I do want to show, man. Something that I did want to show. Let me add it back on the stage. Something that I do want to show. I had it up here. People often talk about the stats when it comes to black-owned businesses in the UK. Okay, and this is coming from the government statistics. Okay, let me bring up this. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. So this is basically showing the ethnic breakdown from 2020 of owners of small, medium enterprises. Okay, small to medium businesses. Okay. So we can see, hopefully the zoom is okay, but we can see at the top, right, we have Indian people at the top. Okay, 28%. And that, of course, I know what a lot of people are going to say, oh, stats can be manipulated, sure. But I think going off of stats and then going off of your own, what you see in your life, do they add up? That is applying a bit more critical thinking, right? Do these add up to what you see when you walk down the high street? Because I know if I go to the shop next door, it's probably going to be an Asian owning the newsagents, right? Or someone of Indian descent. So Indian seem to be 28%. Then as we go down the list, 7% for Black Caribbean. So it seems to be mostly, at least in 2020, mostly micro-sized businesses. Then second in place will be a medium-sized business. Thirdly, a small business, okay? Then we go further down, and then we have the Black African at 4%, okay? So mostly small businesses, then secondarily medium-sized businesses, then micro businesses, okay? And I bring that up to say, simply to say, like, what's stopping black people from competing? Because in this situation, Asians can get together, band together, work together, and apply or deploy the strategy to go inside a black district and monopolize. Like they see these people, these people need weaves and hair extensions. Okay, we're gonna give it to them. What's stopping us from competing? But I know what's stopping us, and it's something that we've spoken about many, many times on these streams. It's something that we all know, man. Tribalism. self-centeredness, narcissism. It seems like black people are more interested on outdoing each other and being the one special super ninja who can stunt on everyone else, stunt on mostly other black people, right? So I'm not surprised, you know. When you're at the mercy of a people, of another people, you can't dictate the terms of how they treat you. You know? And another thing, man, like a lot of people will outright claim the UK to be a racist country, okay? And, to each their own. Everyone has their own experiences to determine if that is a fact, right? But when I hear someone say that, especially someone who comes from the city, like London, right? When I hear someone say that UK is racist, I just know that they've never been anywhere. They've never traveled. They've never been anywhere to suggest that, you know. Like a lot of people don't know, and I hate to say it, how lucky they are to exist in certain countries, because some countries have a level of sympathy and they can sympathize and they can at least try to give you a hand out, you know? Like I remember walking past some kids who I always speak to when I see them. The kids that are out on the street, like looking for donations to stop black on black violence and stuff like that. Like and this is just anecdotal, but the people that tend to stop and listen and show some empathy, man, is usually I don't even want to say it, but it's not typically black people that do that, to be honest with you. You know? We seem to not care. Ifechi Michael in the building has a great list. Lack of trust, bad family dynamics, lack of will, individualism, bad group economics, low ethnocentrism. I think I can agree. You know? But yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be hard to speak of the specific issue, as obviously we can't determine the facts in a first person, way or manner. But for sure, I can agree. I can say putting your hands around someone's throat is overkill, and I think that usually speaks of aggression that is a bit more sinister. Okay, we've got a few people in the back. Don't worry, just give me 5 minutes to get this off, and I'll bring you up. We got a full house, it seems. Okay, so that is wrong, and that is something that a lot of us have also spoken about, right? It's the fact that some communities do show a level of animosity to black people off rip, and I think that we can't mince our words about that. And I agree with that. I remember growing up as a kid, man. Like, I remember, what were these guys' name? I think Rizwan, Irfan, something like that. Like, we used to all play football together. We were all cool, came from the same estate. But these guys will always just pick on me, man. Like the just doing bad mind stuff. But then it was usually the older black kids, that would come through and say, "What are you doing? Like, stop! Like, what are you trying to do?" So I think we can all agree to some extent we've experienced this type of animosity, right? But the thing with me is that I'm more so about finding why it happens, finding out why it happens. If there's anything I can control, how can I fix the situation? And I think in this specific situation, is business related, But yeah, I don't agree with putting your hands around someone's throat. If someone is stealing from your shop, it's funny, sometimes I go in shops, Tesco's, like big supermarket chains, and some homeless person might rob liquor typically. And then it's like the security guard, or not even the security, the people working there, the cashiers are trying to risk their life to stop them. And I'm just thinking, why? Call the police. You know, that's not your job. What are you trying to prove to Tesco? They don't care about you. You know? But as far as I'm concerned, as a group, if we so-called black people want to evade being so-called victims of this type of aggression, we actually do need to own our own stuff. And I know that sounds cliche, but again, when I remember the black ownership in Peckham, it was much higher than what it is today. Now, like I showed you in the Google Maps, like shop after shop after shop are now that were usually typically traditionally owned by black people, now by Asian. Okay, and I really don't understand how that decline has happened. You know what I mean? But I got, actually tell her I do understand why it happens. And it's similar to what Ifechi has brought up. And it's something that we've been trying to analyze when I do these Black British streams. You know? It's like feelings of not feeling connected in the society. You know? You got other black people telling black people, you're not British, you're Nigerian, you're Jamaican, you're this, you're that. You know, but then the person who's the target of that assumption is like, okay, what? I was born here, I was schooled here, I was skilled here, I've worked here. You know, so obviously, like, we're in a different situation. We're more of a hybrid. And to be honest with you, it's been my argument ever since. Let me just come out and straight up and say that. It's been my argument ever since that to live, as we are living, we all live in this country, we all need to drop stronger roots if we are to be successful. You know, I don't really believe in that individual stuff. I mean, I understand it, but for prosperity, it doesn't work. Individuals are weak, and this situation proves it. The people that will form groups have the power. You know, and we see it, examples in so many different communities. Chinese, Indian, all these communities. You know, so it's like the so-called Black British people have to come to a decision, man. Like, what are you doing? A lot of us 30s, 40s, like, what are we doing? You know, are you, some people are talking about flying here, going overseas. If you haven't put that into practice, if you haven't done it before, then at this point, it's probably a pipe dream, man. You're probably going to live out your days in this country, and that's normal, I think. This is what you know best. So, you know, it comes to a point where you need to think we all need to think rationally, and we need to think long term. Not in this like pump and dump way, or I'm just gonna make money and then pump like that's not feasible in my opinion, man. The years go quick. What is the plan? Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So that's why I believe there is the decline, because all these shop owners, all these black owners, black business owners, they probably sold out and they probably left the country. You know? Nature is cutthroat, man. It's always been the survival of the fittest. So all these protests, you know, all this sympathy won't pay the bills at the end of the day. We've seen it time and time again for years and years, okay? But yeah, that's my spiel. That's how I feel. I've got other stuff that I might need to show, but I want to bring everyone on so they can get their views across before an hour passes. You know, I don't want to be long-winded, long in the paint, but I appreciate everyone coming through, man. Salute to everyone in the building. Please do like the stream if you're enjoying it. As we bring up everyone to have their points across, to share their points across, I'm going to read the chat as well to see if you've said anything that I've missed that I need to bring up. But general questions for people in the back as well. General questions for people in the chat if you want to chime in. Like, are black people doing badness in general, or in your opinion, and then trying to act and play the victim? Or are black people being genuinely targeted? Particularly with this BBC article, are black women being targeted? Do you think these black women that we showed in the video are the victims of abuse, or do you think it was self-defense? What do you think about that? Are black people in general the victims of racial abuse, especially by Asians? This is stuff that we need to talk about when it comes to this type of issue, okay? But let me bring on people in the back. Okay, we got JM Talks in the building. We got KB Jones and we got Triller. Salute to everyone in the building. And anyone else that wants to join the stream, I will put the link one more time in the chat. It's also pinned in the comment section. So if you want to chime in on this issue, feel free to, But first and foremost, man, let's go to JM. Then we're going to go to KB. And we're going to go to Triller in order of who chimed in, okay? So, JM, man, how you doing today? Good to have you on.
Hello. I'm doing okay. Just build a business. That's just really it right now. What I'm doing. Yeah,
Sorry,
everything
man,
is good.
my audio was messing up, but now it's clear. Sorry, man, my tech.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. You doing good?
Yeah, but you're echoing through your mic. I could hear my own voice.
Oh, God damn. Let me turn off this echo, man. Apologies, man.
No
Soft.
worries.
How is it now?
Hello. Yeah, that's
How's it
better.
now? Perfect.
Yeah, got better now. So yeah, so what I've been doing is I've just been building a business, really. Like,
Salute to that.
yeah, because the job market is an absolute shambles right now. Yeah, so I've
Mm.
decided I'm just going to do self-employment. Like
Mhm.
nothing. I haven't got really much to lose, really.
Hey, that's good to hear, man. And I think it's times like these when, that stuff usually flies, depending on what we choose to do.
Yep.
So yeah, good to hear, good to hear. But I think you probably have strong views on this incident. So I think first of all, just to the first question, I think you answered it. Do you believe this woman is guilty or innocent? And why, whatever you agree with, why is that?
She's 100% guilty. There's no doubt about it. Um, but I will say that both people were in the wrong. I would say the Indian man's in the wrong for having his neck over her, right? In terms of actually trying to choke her out,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think what stopped him from doing it was that he knew that there was a camera on him, right?
Mm.
That's what I would say. Um, but yeah, she's definitely in the wrong. Um, there's really no doubt about it. I think the people who came over and flipping marched, to be honest, I'm just like, you didn't do your research. You reacted too quick. You didn't let all the information come out first. Let
Mm.
the official information come out first before you protest, and then that's just really that. I've seen the footage a good couple of times, and really, um, there's multiple reasons why I would say black people are in a position now, and it's also showing signs. There's also signs. There's a
Mm.
few signs that are showing like why they're in this position as it is like right now.
Mm.
It's just a shame. Like it's just a shame to see. Like I don't really see much positivity from this. Okay, cool. A group of black people just turned up behind to show solidarity, but are you really showing solidarity for the right reasons?
Right.
That's just that's just me.
Mm. I mean, what do you like? Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and especially that first protester or activist that said, basically he was saying that there's a hierarchy in this country, and unfortunately, black women are always at the bottom of the hierarchy. So I imagine I don't know if he has all the information or he just basically saw, you know, he saw the footage and just automatically went into, hey, you're hurting black women, stop. Like, do you think that tends to happen? Are people like emotionally charged like that, and
I'll say
without?
black people. Yeah, I'll say black people are like
Mm.
it. Like black people globally got finessed by Black Lives Matter over George Floyd. Like they got finessed hard, right?
Mm.
By the group in America and even certain extent here, right? it's people know that black people can be emotionally basically charged and basically manipulated for an agenda. All you have to do is look at the United States, how much money was made out of Black Lives Matter, and how much money was made off the death of unarmed black people getting killed by police in the States, right? Same thing with Chris Kaba, right? Chris Kaba, again, in my opinion, yes, I understand he shouldn't have died, but again, you put yourself in situations, play silly games, win silly prizes, right? There was more information that came out about him. Same thing with Duggan, right? But to be honest, in my opinion, that was more dubious than most of the cases that happened in the UK, right? What happened to Jet Duggan, I just think what the police were saying was dodgy. I felt like there was a cover up, in my opinion. But what I do see is there's a lot of, in the black community, there tends to be a lot of defending criminality, right? And protest. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't see that same. And even though Daniela Taylor died, right? The kid, if you know the kid that walked like to the library, like got killed in the library and got killed by
Daniela Taylor, yeah.
Right. The energy wasn't the same. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's sad, but it's true. Yeah, I understand. Like, it was a big outrage, but let's just keep it real. Like, it wasn't on. And he's just a kid that is just was a good kid just doing what a good boy would so-called do, just go to the library, come in and basically get killed for what? Right. Same place as well, Peckham. Right. So, in regards to this whole situation where everyone is marching, so I just think it's just a big L for the black community. We just came off the back of the Notting Hill Carnival, and now this. It's like bloody
right. That's what I was thinking. You know what? To be honest with you, man, the reason why I don't really want to cover this stuff is because what I realize is that when all the main headlines are all just negative stuff. So it's like, I don't know. Am I, you know, because I don't want to find myself agreeing with people who are of the far right. Like, I just, even if it makes sense, I just don't want to find myself agreeing with any far right. So like, even with Carnival, man, I made a 1-2 video and then I had to leave it because these guys are coming in like, see, but you're right. Just after Carnival, we got this, and then what? Next month is our so-called Black History Month, right? October. You don't know what's going to come out of. It's like, there's just always a series of efferys, man.
Right, and before I end, because I know there's other people that are bursting to talk as well, is what G Mart Sui just said about Sasha Johnson is spot on. Right, me and my friends were talking about when Sasha Johnson got killed, or no, she got shot. Right, basically, I said immediately, I bet you it's another black person that shot her, and then voila, happened to be another black person. It was 4 guys. 4 guys were involved in that whole thing. No one snitched, right? And she's now in a hospital bed, no children, no one to look after her children, right? And she was a black activist looking out for the black community. This is why there's no leaders, right? This is the reality. People have like grown up, right? People have wised up and has looked at black history, British, or even American, and so on and so forth. Here's what happens when you become a black leader of the community, right? You either end up dead or broke, right?
Say that one more time, please. I need to hear it for the.
End up dead or you end up broke.
If you do what?
If you become the leader of a black community, you become either dead or broke. Just be honest. Like, this is what happens. Like, you either die or you're broke. You, like, all you got to do is like look at all most of the leaders, right? What happened to them? Just keep it real. But I'm done. Like,
okay, well put. That's JM Talks. Please hang around because we're gonna go in deeper in the second round as well. Yeah, but salute to JM Talks. Is there an echo? No. Okay, next up we got KB Jones. KB Jones in the building. Salute to you, bro.
Yo.
Excellent. Sound is good. How you doing this evening, man? Good to have you. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Man. Big up yourself, Falcon. Big up everyone in the chat. Salute. Big up everyone watching.
So I know we can jump anywhere, but I mean, if you got something on your mind that you wanna that you really want to say about this, but I want to know what you think about this woman, particularly from what you've seen. Does it come across as she's like the victim, or does it seem like she's in the wrong, in your opinion?
Listen, yeah. Listen, black people strike again. Black people strike again. Listen, look, fuck it, yeah. This woman that, you know, this narrative has been painted, you know, that black women are being attacked. And first of all, stop it. Stop, please stop it. That is BS. Like, it's not normal black women, because you see that type of woman, and we do this in our community. We defend, and I like some of the examples, Damiola Taylor, I know Sasha Johnson, some people saying she's a gang or whatever. We've had some other ones. When it's, you know, us against each other, when it's someone who really doesn't, you know, the Damiola Taylor one, Jem, was a really good example. When it's someone that really isn't about that life, you get a bit of sadness, you get bare people coming to the funeral, you know, we'll put his face on a t-shirt, you know, and that's it, yeah. But when you've got Keisha from Nam, yeah, who went into the Asian man shop, and I'm going to come to the whole black and Asian thing in a minute, because I don't like them anyway, but, you know, I'll come to that in a minute. When it comes to that, I'm going to say he shouldn't have, okay, well, the whole hands on the neck thing it looks damning, I've got to say, yeah. And that's not warranted at all. But if Keisha went in there to go and tease something, because I was thinking, right, when you was loading up, I was thinking, with all the talk and of everything we're saying in the chat, and if this was, I was thinking, would the same thing have happened if that was a black-owned shop, like you was mentioning, Falcon? And if I'm going to be honest, Keisha still would have teased something out that shop. Same way. I don't think if that shop was black-owned, that would have made any difference to her trying to nick something, or how. Yeah, do you know what I mean? The confrontation would have still been, if anything, it would have been worse. You know, if anything, it would have been worse. Now, also as well, at the same time, it's like, what gets on my nerves, right, is some ratchet, some hood black person will get into some sort of public altercation, be it verbally or physically. It goes viral, gets some news traction, and then it turns into this all black people thing. Now, I kind of get where they're coming from. I'm a person, if I'm, say, on a train, I will look for, almost instinctively, almost unconsciously, for another black person, preferably another black male. Won't necessarily say anything to him, but just to understand, okay, if it kicks off, is this guy one of those that's gonna, do you know what I mean? I think we all kind of have developed that kind of, well, a lot of us have developed that kind of wary-ish instinct, which is fine. But when something happens, and usually when it's some sort of deterrent behavior, you know, there's this automatic defense of, oh, you're doing this to all black people. This whole narrative that you would think that black women are getting snatched off the streets in London. Are you joking? No.
Right.
But you see what as well, not even but, what I do want to say aside from that is, I think I've said this with some incidents before, let this happen and let it be shown, because there's still some black people that also think there's this black and Asian, black and brown alliance, and
the BME.
Bro, I'm a big co-sign. I'm a big advocate of there's no BAME, bro. There's none. And you know what? I'm not even angry at that fact. We can be us and they can be them. You know, like you mentioned earlier, Falcon, somewhere, a district like Peckham, a real historical black British place like Peckham, like you're saying, if I was going to pick, even if I'm just London, but to represent the whole of the UK, just 3 districts that I could maybe say, you know what, black British history of the last 60, 70 years can be found in these 3 places, and everything else is a root of it. I would say Peckham, I would say Brixton, and I would say Tottenham. Everything else is a spout of something that happened there, from those places, in those places, whatever. So for someone like Peckham to originally to have all these original sort of black businesses and so on, right? Which on paper should make sense because it's a mainly black demographic. So, you would think, no, whatever the reasoning is for selling up, and what's disappointing, I think that going off what Fetchy was saying earlier, is that even if they're selling up, because the concept of of building a business enough to where you can sell it for some sort of, I'd hope, profit is a good thing. But what we're not ensuring is that it's maybe having the patience to wait for a black potential buyer, or if not, sort of doing as much as you can to make sure the handoff is into black hands. So even if a business or property or whatever gets sold, it's still within the chain, if that makes sense. This is partly where the break comes from, because what it seems to be where Asians, and be it whatever provisions, because I have heard, I wasn't alive then, but I have heard from seniors to me that around the sort of 60s, the 70s, and bits of the 80s, when it came to things like business loans, when it came to minorities, and again, I'm going off speculation, I don't know if it's for fact, but that Asians were more likely, and I don't know how they did the criteria, so I can't give specifics to how they, justified it, but they were more likely to be given the business loans, the grants, etc. And I don't know if it's, I don't think it's any coincidence that a lot of these businesses were set up in what you would call black areas.
Okay, can I ask you a question to that? Because someone else in the chat has kind of alluded to that. Are you suggesting that perhaps historically, at least, certain ethnic groups got different treatment, and in that hierarchy of treatment, black people received the less favorable treatment? Do you kind of agree with that, or is that what you're suggesting?
I stop short of saying agree. I'm saying that's what I'm suggesting.
Okay.
So kind of, but the thing is that how do you prove that on paper?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? The problem is, it's even though it's in our face and the proof seems to be in the pudding, how do you prove that legally? It's when there once was a time, we're from a city that there once was a time where there was bigoted landlords that openly said no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. That one you could see, you could they had to make legal reforms to change that. But there's no, that I know of, reform needed to change the law that Asians get grants and blacks don't. There isn't, but it appears that way.
Okay.
And and it seems to have done this now. What I will say is that I will say general black people overall are aware of the general sort of treatment that we would get from other people. Particularly, I would say maybe Asians. We know this. Now, the general narrative is we should then frequent our own places, which I agree. The problem is, and spinning back to what I said earlier, it's not necessarily going to be the fact of the behavior is going to be any better. That's part of the problem. See, I do hope this wakes some people sort of up, but like was said in the chat, these women are going to go to, it's going to die down and they're going to be going back to these shops again. Now,
that's a key point. I think a few years ago, something similar happened in America, right? Where I think it was a Korean hair store. I think a similar thing, disrespect and stuff like that. And there was some violence and people, I think, raided the place. But then it was noted that like time flies by, a few weeks later, they come back to the same place to do business. So it's like, you see the problem hasn't been solved the problem still occurs. You know, and if it's
I
happening in
agree.
America and it happens all the way over here, it's like there's a similar pattern and there's a similar air of disrespect, right, or disenfranchisement on the black side for not owning the stuff that, you know, the stuff that they want, that are essential to us.
But you see what's interesting when it comes to what, because okay, I've said this before and I'll say it again, and this is do not blame Falcon for this. This is purely my views. Do not hold him responsible. Right? Sorry, bro.
I appreciate the disclaimer. I appreciate that.
It's fine. It's fine. Look, yeah. In my experience, and I'm only one man, right? But I've lived, worked, grown up around, had a lot of experience around Asians, Pakistanis, you know, that region of the world, you know, be it they're British born, you know, not British born, whatever. A lot of black people have this narrative or thought process or this ideal that when it comes to racism and prejudice, anti-blackness, it's mainly from white people, Caucasians, the original English, right? Now, not to say it isn't there, of course it is. But for me, this is me saying it, Asian people are much more, they despise us much more than white people do, in my experience.
Okay.
They despise us much more than white people do. And if you look at, again, I've had to look for history to see where, you know, maybe this where may have derived from. And I've even tried to speak to people, and some people are given, you know, the narrative of things like, you know, like Eddie Amin and people like that, and he got rid of a bunch of like, no, that's not why you hate black people. That's not your reasoning. I don't know. I don't know your mind process, but there's nothing that says to me historically, let's say between, I don't know, Nigeria and India, where there was conflict or war or whatever. If anything, you had something recent like in Ghana, they wanted to tear down Gandhi's statue. There's a statue of Gandhi in Ghana, you know, because it's become, I can't stand him, but it's become quite apparent that he was very anti-black. He was very supportive of apartheid, etc. So Ghana wanted to tear down his statue. And sorry, I'm sidetracking a little bit, but apparently when, you know, certain people in India particularly, became aware of this, they threatened to remove the scholarships of Ghanaian students that were studying in India. The statue hasn't been taken down yet. That's just a side note. So when it comes to things like overall feeling like that, I don't think, put it this way, let's say this country, I don't think white people hate us the most. But at the same time, we seem to hate each other as much as well, because I believe, again, if this was a black business, the thing might, you know, this might have turned out the same. And there wouldn't be any protests if it was a black business. It would just be viral on the internet. You know, it would just be viral on the internet. It wouldn't be this whole big thing. And I'll just finish off just talking about this protest, because I see even people in the chat saying about the protest and it looks soft, you know. And it makes me laugh, because this is partly why people don't take us seriously. Because I do think doing this sort of half-hearted, and I see someone say there's simps and something else there, which is quite funny, because it's true. If we're going to protest, if we really feel like, you know, people are harming black women and this stuff, whether we're all right or wrong, if we really feel like that, that shop should be on fire right now. It should be on fire. If we're serious, if we really feel that way, if that's how you really feel, that place should be arson. There should be. Hold on. This happened in Peckham. Are you in Peckham, bro? I can.
No, you're right, bro.
Know, I couldn't.
One sec, brother Arsenal. One sec, Arsenal. We're gonna, after KB rounds it off, we're gonna go Trinidad and we'll come to you. Okay? I know it's been a long wait, but everyone needs to get their stuff off.
I'm really done. Me personally, I can't go to Peckham myself this weekend about possibly people being like, yeah, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean? How did this happen in Peckham, bro? of all places. Like, I was like, this happened in Nam. Are you serious? Like, do you know what's happened in? Do you know what happens in Peckham, bro? Or what? You know Falcon because you're from them ends, bro. So like, my family are from Lewisham. The Peckham boys and the Ghetto boys. That's no joke. Like, and so yeah, I think we're all over the place with this one. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my all over the place opening comments. But yeah.
No. As always, man, great points. Like, we're gonna go into a round two, so we're gonna talk further about some of the stuff you raised. So salute to KB Jones as well, man, in the building. Then next up, we got Triller, man. Triller, how you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Big up
Hey,
the
good,
crowd,
good.
big up everyone. What's going on?
Yeah, appreciate you. So, I know we've been all over the place, but what do you typically think about the situation? Who's at fault in your opinion?
Yeah, clearly the thief is at fault, or the alleged, supposedly, I mean, kind of thief. The thing is, the question is, what are you going to do as a shopkeeper if somebody's going to basically, take your goods, right? How far are you going to go, right? To basically, you lot were talking about, some people were making some points about, black businesses and things like that, and how kind of small they are in comparison to Asian shops, for example, Indians
Right.
being at the top. The thing is, end of the day, these are these are still going to be small businesses, and these people are protecting their income that's basically going towards their families, right? Their kids and things like that. So that is basically, she is taking off, she is taking the food off, I mean, his table, right? His children's table. She's taking the food out of their mouth. You get me? Yeah, by doing that, right? Quite literally. So the thing is, like I said, it's a really grey area when it comes down to protecting your business, and because again, they're not. You mentioned Tesco's and things like that, and why people, are basically gonna put themselves on the line for that. But like I said, these are smaller shops, right? So therefore, that money, it all matters, and regardless of how much profit they're flipping. It really does matter a lot. So, and you can't have people like, he's probably had stuff taken before. More than likely, you've seen what you call it, shoplifting rise over the last few years, right? Quite crazily as well. Even in big retailers are basically saying that they're looking at shutting down and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Well, it's affecting them, put it that way, yeah.
Right.
Really badly, because people are walking out with hundreds of pounds of goods. You know what I mean? So these small businesses, they can't compare, and they can't tolerate it. So how, like I said, the guy is gonna what? Let the girl go. Do you know what I mean, right? He's going to wait for police, right? You mentioned let the police deal with it. Now, police, right? What you call it, response times are absolutely ridiculous. They might not even turn up to shoplifting, right? So that's another thing. Even if your police station might be around the corner, their response time might be absolutely ridiculous for whatever reason. So that's been that's been put out there by the mainstream media as well. So what are you going to do, dude? Like I said, if that's your business. The other point you mentioned about the guy choking her, all right, I don't think he's choking her. Right? I work security, a lot of my life. So when it comes down to it, and I basically own businesses, own shops, right? So I've worked in my dad's shops, my parents' shops, when I was younger. But when it comes down to like what you call it, putting your hands on somebody. Now again, this is another grey area. Like, you got somebody here who's basically, lashed out at you, right? The guy pushed her, right, to stop her from going anywhere, right? Because he's trying to, he don't want her to leave with his goods, yeah? And then she lashes out. Now, from time, that's all kicking off like that. She's acting like a man, right? Gender, right, really and truly is second to this, yeah? The guy is going to defend himself, in it, right? He's going to, try and keep his goods, you get me, in the shop. Now she is acting all like, he's a big guy, but she's a big girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, she's not like a little girl, right? That can't defend herself at all. No, she's fighting back, like, you know what I mean? Hard for this guy to like stop him from refraining her. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to refrain it, so like kind of detain her, right? And restrain her. Sorry, that's the words I'm trying to find. So yeah, he's trying to restrain her as best as possible. And sometimes, you know what, in the process of restraining somebody, your hands might go wandering, right? You might literally, he's probably trying his best, trying to like not grab one of her big teddies or something. You get me? Like, and then he just sort of like went for the throat. Like, you get me? Just as a thing, maybe that might freak her out and stop her. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just, you just, whatever you're doing in that moment in time, right, is what just kind of goes through your head. Yeah, you just
No, but you mentioned you worked in security, so I'm sure you had the training to know how to diffuse a situation, right? So I'm assuming when you were in security, the first thing that comes to your mind wouldn't be putting hands on someone's neck. I'm assuming.
Well, dude, my thing is, like, end of the day, every security guard is generally going to do their job a little bit differently from one another, right? So I've been in the industry for years and I've done martial arts. I know how to handle myself, right? So when it comes down to it, I'm not very strong in comparison to some guys out there, but like I know for a fact, yeah, right? Like literally, I know my job. Firstly, my job, I know what I can and can't do. 9 times out of 10, I'm not touching anybody. Do you know what I mean? If it happens, it's because I'm defending myself or I'm trying to stop a situation from escalating. Do you know what I mean? That's it. But really and truly, it's a last resort, right? I protect the people, I protect the staff, and I protect myself, number one. You get me? Yeah? That is basically it. So I'll do whatever it takes in that regard. So yeah, some security guards are out there literally hitting people because that's what they like to do. Do you know what I mean? Like at the clubs and at the bars and shit like that. They'll just hit you. Do you know what I mean? Like because they think they can get away with it, or they enjoy doing it, or they're just crazy. So when it comes down to this scenario, this is a shopkeeper who's also a security guard, who's also, do you know what I mean? You got to look at the fact that he's obviously looking to, this is bad for business in terms of all this hype, right, by this group that's basically come in. I think they said it's Forever Family. So some people, probably, maybe not all of them. So this protest that's going on outside the shop, it's basically they've turned what was a criminal activity into something that's race motivated, and it's not race motivated, but that's what they're doing. And this is what certain people, even some people, the last person who spoke before me on the panel, some people try to turn things into a race thing when really and truly it's just luck of the draw. Sometimes, like, I might know somebody to get a loan, you get me, in the 70s or whatever, right? And you didn't. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. There's all sorts of different factors, you get me, right, when it comes down to it. Fact is, we're all trying to make money here, and we're all trying to get on as best as possible. And if you're not trying to do that, then you got to look at really and truly who the problem might be.
Okay, well put, Triller. I appreciate your opinions. We're gonna go deeper into some of your points that you made up just now in a bit.
Brilliant. I'm gonna listen in because it's getting late for me, bro. So
okay, I hear that.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me on. Big up, everyone.
Big up to you. Appreciate you jumping on. Salute to Triller coming through. Okay, next up we got UK Arsenal in the building. I think I remember you from before. So
yeah, I think I've been on your show before. Yeah,
appreciate you. You all right?
I'm gonna add to this. Apparently, this is what because I was watching the Sister Shanice show, but they are pro-Blacks, Pan-Africans. What it is apparently is she took a product back, right? And they wouldn't give back. They didn't want to give her money. Yeah. Now, I'm not gonna turn around there and say I know fully about it. It's only something I'm just heard. I don't know. I don't know if she'd opened it and that's why they wouldn't take it back. But she was covered under the Consumers Act anyway. So I think,
does the Consumers Act, forgive me, I'm ignorant, but Consumers Act, are you eligible for a refund?
I'm not expert, but what I've bought. So in other words, the consumers, you're entitled to your money back, but sometimes you have to let their shopkeeper know that, bro, I'm going to report you to the Consumer Act people, what do you call it? I forgot what it's, yeah. So in other words, they will be under a body. So you report them to that body, yeah? Just like you report the police to the ICC.
Yeah.
Yeah. If if she had threatened to do that, to say that under the you understand me, yeah, and it goes to ombudsman, they ain't gonna want to do that. They would have just given her money, yeah. But I think she handled it in ignorance, like a lot of our black women do. Right.
What about what Playlist Overload said? Could it be for hygiene reasons? You can't return a bundle because it's probably been,
If
touched.
she's used it, then I can understand where the shopkeepers come from. If she's used it, because here's the thing, it's sad
because to be fair, I get that,
it's
because a lot of the beauty products, obviously, if you open them, you can't return them. So creams, lotions, it doesn't make sense for a lot of that shop.
I know, but unfortunately, in general, you generally, if the customer goes through the right act, you generally have to give them back their money and accept the loss. It's just one of those things. I'm sad to say, and it affects you when you're a small business like that, as opposed to Tesco or Sainsbury's or one of those.
Let me quickly read it out. Since you brought it up, you made a good point. Let me quickly read out the Consumers' Rights Act. The Consumers' Rights Act 2015 harmonizes the rules regarding the supply of goods, services, and digital content when the contract is business to consumer. Okay, it aims to protect consumers against poor quality products and unfair business practices or contract terms with regards to transactions, repairs, refunds, and delivery. A consumer is defined as an individual acting for purposes that are wholly or mainly outside that individual's trade, business, craft, or profession. So makes sense. But of course, I'm sure there's gonna be products that are not gonna be eligible for, or meet the full kind of.
But then you've got trading standards. There's a number of ways. I'm just trying to say that as a one-off, she could have probably got her money back. But if she went and did the same thing again, that's where she probably might have problems. Right? But I'm just saying how you handle it. For example, I had a situation last Sunday at the market, where my fault of mine, I lost my phone. I was calling my phone, Now I went to the office and I'm ringing my phone and they're telling me some nonsense, Right? Now I could have got violent and angry. So they said to me, come back next week. But when I go back this Sunday, if they go on with anything, I will let them know that I will bring in the police and bring in the whatever. You understand me? Now I'm missing a phone, right? So again, it's how you deal with it. And I'm just saying, you were mentioning some interesting points about if it was a black-owned business, but we treat each other worse because this is at the market. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a black-owned security company, but a professional security company, I would have had no hassle. They would have they want me to see the phone, tell me that I could come to the office and all this kind of bull crap that you have to go on with, So I don't like to go on and get out of character and go on a way, but I'm just trying to say to you how you made the point of the black businesses. One of the reasons the black businesses suffer is that we lack professionalism as a people. I'm not saying all of us.
Facts.
We lack professionalism. You literally, example, I can give you another example. I mean, I'm a conservative voter. That's not popular in the black community. Right now, I bought a card for my, I can't remember what it was. I think it was for my niece last year at a shop. And the girl was from America. And I mentioned that if I was American, I was a Republican. And it's literally that they just changed how they treated me. Right. So all of a sudden I was less valuable because, you know what I mean? I don't vote. I don't vote for the left. I don't vote for Labour. And if I was in America, I wouldn't vote for Democrat. You understand me? And it just literally started to treat me with this bad attitude and this thing. So we can talk about how other races treat us, but we treat each other the same or worse, right? Now I can go on with and say that basically it's kind of funny because most black people are now becoming turning to Islam, and they're turning to the Arabic version of Islam.
Mm.
Yeah, and the Arabs enslaved black people. I love to talk about the white people, but yeah, the Arabs, the those line
Okay,
of people.
let's not disrespect our Muslim brothers now, because this is faith. So we need to let
No. But I'm just
people.
trying to say to you that they're more racist. They treated us the worst in slavery, but we don't hold them any responsible. They and they treat with disrespect. For example, I can name you that in where I'm talking to you in Birmingham now. I don't go to the electrical shops around here because I buy and sell phones, I buy and sell bikes and stuff. You know what I mean? I used to get phones, fix them and sell them, but now I just sell. I don't bother with the fixing and stuff. And I don't, like I said, I don't go and buy stuff for them because they charge. There is this thing that they charge me a high price, yeah. And they think I don't know that they charge their own lower. So if I want to buy a charger, for example, that I bought now for my current handset that I'm picking up tomorrow up in Wolverhampton, I paid $10.99. They'll charge me £25 for that. Where I expect, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than eBay. I might pay £14 or not. Nah, you understand me?
Right,
So
right.
there is a level of thing. Yeah, when you go into their shops, they look at you and all this kind of thing. There is a level of kind of disrespect that they treat us.
Okay, perfect, man. That's a great segue. This is the second round, so anyone can chime in. That is a great segue. Why, I want to also hark on what Triller said before he left, because we need to rebut that as well. Is this not an issue of race? Is it just is this just like a Larry person who was doing crazy stuff, got reprimanded, and she just so happened to be a black woman? Or are we saying that yes, there are racial implications in this incident as well? And if that's the case, then why is there this disrespect? Why does it exist? Is it something that the black community are not doing, or is it just are we the victims of abuse?
Well, we don't handle stuff carefully. I mean, so we don't handle stuff, especially our women, because this happens mostly to the women than the men. So we can talk about it on that regard.
Say that again. What? It happens more to women than to men?
I'm talking about in terms of what happened in the Asian shop, we hear it happening to more sisters, isn't it? Predominantly, yeah. Yeah,
assuming that they are the majority consumers.
Yeah, they're the majority consumers and shoppers.
Right.
We know that, yes.
Right.
The advertisement promotes to who? It don't promote to men. It promotes to women.
But they sell hella do-rags in those shops as well. So a lot of guys like me who want those waves going there as well.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I hear you. I know it's all wigs, weaves, and women.
Guys, we're not fussy. If we go and purchase the wrong thing, we'll give it away.
Right.
Yeah, you understand me. So if you bought the wrong do-rag, you're gonna turn around there and give it to your friend or something.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, you understand me. Whereas women, they take it more personal. Like they're gonna go back to the shop and do all that, and then they're gonna. If you beat them, and they don't get what they expected to think, then they start taking things into their own hand. And from, like I said, from the Shanice show, I gather that she bought it, and she came for refund. They refused it, so she decided to pick something of value up. Yeah, which technically is theft. You can't just take up something else and think that I'm going to replace something of value like that and walk out. Yeah, because like I said, at the end of the day, if she don't think she has a consumer act, she has trading standards that she can go to, which she could have said, you know what? All right, then we've got to get trading standards and complain. So then
great point. I want to ask JM though. Salute to UK Arsenal. JM, do you think that this is a racial issue, as in this is just an example of Asian outrage or Asian disrespect towards black people, and this is a good example of that, in your opinion? What do you think?
I'll say no. I'll say that it's just black people playing the fool, just playing back, just point blank period. Do I say that there is times where South Asian people have been disrespectful to black people? Yeah, there's a few times. I could note a few. Um, for example, a prominent MP
Mm.
um, called Kwasi Kwarteng, who is South Asian descent, superficially or artificially black.
Mm.
Right, that's one. There was another time where there was a very prominent Nigerian footballer called Alex Iwobi. There was a South Asian actress was calling another black person a gorilla. That's facts. Could look that up. Right.
Damn.
There's a whole bunch of other racist things as well. I've experienced. I don't know if I could call it racism, but I would say it neglect. I don't know if, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't really like saying the R word unless there's actual evidence of it.
Or is it more like indifference, or like just
So basically, what happened was there was a South Asian woman that liked me, right? And let's just say I was a younger guy, right? I was young, very young, and let's just say she had no problems doing relations with me. But once it came to meeting her parents, it was a different story, right? Things like that, and it just hasn't happened to me. I know there's been South Asian women that have dealt with black guys. They don't mind jumping on your sausage, but they definitely don't want to see. They definitely don't want you to see your their parents, right? I know that for a few times. Like I've had friends who've told me about this and said, "Look, bro, she doesn't really like you like that. She just sees you as a short term fling." And then basically, he thought it was something more, but in reality, it was just a short term thing. You're just basically a black dildo, right? So basically, those type of things do happen, right? But in this case now, I would say no. This has got nothing to do with race. It's just black people playing the fool in this instance. Black people jumping the gun and reacting before they needed to react to actually get the full information and evidence before they would come down and protest. Because I'll be honest with you, the people who went down there looked like proper plonkers. Just point blank. Period. There's nothing to unite up against when someone is doing something that is criminal, right? Another thing as well is that man, the man who was in the shop, he actually had a good track record with black people in Peckham, right?
Really?
Yeah. The way I know this is I have a relative. Who works in Peckham for a long time. I'm not gonna bait it out, but and the thing is there has to be a good track record if black people go in there buying the products, right? Point blank, period. Because even for me, for instance, there was one time where I would go to this place to get my feet done, and it was like Asian people. And as soon as they disrespected me, I never gave them any money ever again. And I just basically bought myself a foot spa and did my feet myself. Right? The type of shit I do, right? The best way to stop this nonsense, and this is another thing as well, is black people not having any power. Right? And I'll explain what I mean by this. Right? The way black people can get power in this instance is to own black businesses, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be. You don't have to go out there and say it's black owned. Like people will see, right? People will get a vibe as soon as they go inside the shop that it's probably black owned, right? And that's another thing where black people are handicapping themselves, right? Where they say, "Oh, my business is black owned." No other group of people is saying that. "Oh, my shop is Asian owned. My shop is white owned." They just give a product that's valuable to the market, right? And then they buy it. For example, even I'll use you as an example. You had a book in a Discord that you're writing, right? It was to do with getting into the games industry, right? Your skin color had no bearing in me saying that I was going to be your first purchase and buying. It was the fact that you provided a service that I wanted for X amount of money, which would basically be valuable or beneficial to me. That is basically how business works, right? Black people, what most black people are doing is They are handicapping themselves, saying, "Oh, hey, let me just sell to only black people," right? When if they could actually make a product that caters for a wider demographic, they would actually make more money. They will still be able to keep that black so-called pound in circulation like everybody else. The Jews do it, the Asians do it. Like, bruh, like Asian shops are making a killing off black people with fried chicken, right?
Mm.
So it's like this
But
is the type.
I hear what you're saying, and I thoroughly agree. But what about those cases where it's like, I don't know, the reputation of black businesses is so far down that it's almost like, look, since I can see that you are the owner of this business, I just know that this business is going to be shoddy, it's going to be poorly run. So it's almost like tied into a sort of discrimination where it's like, oh, I'm not, as soon as I realize it's owned by a black person, no, I'm not going to even waste my time, I'm not going to waste my money. So
Well,
do you not?
Well, like I said to you before, black people have a way of doing stuff that, you know what I mean? Like I said, a lot of us need to do some kind of customer service course or something, how to deal with customers.
I agree.
And I think that goes a long way to why black businesses have that less support. That attitude is there.
Right. And the thing is
because a white race shop and you'll never know he's racist. Because
right.
his business, they said that Donald Trump, for example, I don't believe Donald Trump is racist, but that was my point, yeah? But they say that Donald Trump is racist, but look at how Donald Trump does business. I know that's just an extreme form of, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying that we do stuff, right? The way how we do business, and then the next thing is that we don't sell to be. We sell when a black business has something, it costs more. So let's use a black corner shop. He's gonna sell you a Coca-Cola for £1.20, where the Asian guy is gonna sell you for 69p.
Right.
There's that as well, because there's a different mindset. So you mentioned a point about loans being preferred to Asians. I don't think so. I don't think it's anything to do with that.
Okay, one sec though, Austin. Before we go to that, because JM Talks was about to round off. He was coming in with his point as well. JM, if you remember what you're about to say, 1 second, UK. Let's let JM finish off.
I'll address the loans quick, right? I'll address the loan thing, right, for KB, right? Here's how they get loans, right? The way I know this is I've actually grown up with South Asian people, right? South Hall, Hayes, those areas, cool, right? Here's how they get their loans, right? It's the same group economics they do to basically build houses and get cars, right? So what they do is they have everyone, not always the case, but most of the cases is they'll have a family home, right? And these family homes will work various jobs, and then they will use that group income, right, to basically get a better credit or basically a better, let's say, rating in regards of getting whatever, or basically having more money, right? So they do group economics at a young age, right? And then they build the money together as a group, right? So they can afford getting loans, no problem, because someone else could pay it off, right? And they could be in like a small flat, and it could be 4 or 5 of them, and they know in the long term it's basically the ultimate instant delayed gratification move.
Thinking of,
right?
yeah, I was just thinking of that, because we also need to take into consideration a good credit as well, good credit rating to apply to those loans, which will require delayed gratification.
Right, that's how they do it. The way I know this is I grew up, I've seen it in my own eyes. When I was on respite, they would literally tell me the game, because I was technically part of their family when I was with them, right? When I was part of a family respite for disabilities, right? And I've seen how they all move. They move like a team. Like I remember it, like I remember the strategies clear as day. But the thing was, is I couldn't replicate it, because first, I didn't have a father in the home, and I was living with a single parent house. I was living in a single parent household, and there was no one else, right? And that's where black people fail, right? Or they can't implement that strategy. Maybe in the future they may pick up on it and may do it. I don't know. But that's how Asians get loans. It's not necessarily to do with racism, but you never know. There may be a few dodgy loan owners.
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, you know, to a capitalist society, all the color that matters is, you know, I don't want to say green because I know that's for the dollar, but it's just money. Anyone who is you know, monetarily viable is going to be attractive, right? It's not. That's just how it is now. So
no, it's true. Right. It's true, because what I was going to add to it is that when you if you're going for a loan for a business, one of the things they're going to look at is if you have a mortgage and a family, because you've got more to lose. So they know you're going to pay your thing on time. With us, for example, many of us don't own homes and have mortgages. So, you know what I mean? We typically love cars. They watch that shit. Because when a loaner is going to loan you something, as well as keeping a good credit rating, right. You know, your bills are always paid on time. So they look at it. Everyone's going to have a slip thing where a direct is going to debit is going to fail. So they look at how you're going to, are you going to pay if you do have a mortgage, are you going to pay your mortgage for your car? We tend to make sure our car's paid for. Right. So it's like I said, I don't think it's anything to do with that. I'll mention the thing about the Coca-Cola or whatever, because the black man is selling it for more because the black man is thinking about getting that Mercedes. You know what I mean? A lot of those black shop owners, when you think how many of them own their own homes.
Right, facts. I just want to bring in KB Jones into the, you know, to
if I could jump in.
Yeah, for sure. It's just with what I think Trill is his name. I think what he said, it's not a racial thing. It's just a bad person, you know, being out of pocket and getting taken care of. Like, do you agree or disagree with that? Is there a racial element, a racial component to this, or is it just as he says? Because I think a lot of non-black people now, from what I see on the news and stuff like that, are aligning with that. Like, look, this is someone who's just taken the piss and just so happens to be black.
God, look. I think the response was a bit excessive, but. And maybe the excessiveness in that might have been an underlying, may have an underlying thing to do with race, but overall, even if it was to do with race, even if it is, that doesn't take away the fact of shoplifting. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever, you know, was it taking the bundles back? And a commotion was being caused you know, it was overexertion at the end, but it wasn't originally caused by them. So I think race could come into it, yeah, but I don't think that's the main narrative. And it's only, and I think people are jumping on the race thing because it's ended up in that, and it's like, it's almost as if every time a black, and you know what, I was going to say black person, but I don't, it's more every time a black woman, more of most of the time, gets into some sort of public commotion, whether it's caused by her or not, it's harm against black women, it's racism, and not everything's racism. Maybe you're just a cunt, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, but also as well with the black business thing, right?
Sorry, one sec, KB. I just need to jump in because you know what? I know, like, it's such a shock collar now. Like, protect black women thing. It's like if you have a different point of view to it, you're gonna be, you know, you're gonna be reprimanded to some extent. You're gonna be ostracized. Like, oh, you're not a real man. You don't protect black women. So that's another thing, man. It's very risky because it's like someone who you don't know their motive, you don't know what they did. They could be straight up crazy. if they go ahead and do something, oh, just for the fact that they're black women, you need to basically be on their side. You know, that's what it comes down to, it seems. It's like, you know, with that whole kind of protect black women type of mantra, it's like, it's a very risky.
It is risky, and it's almost like, because look, I have my own problems with Keisha's and whatever. I've not my. I don't say problems. That's incorrect. That's incorrect, right? But I have my own little gripes with them. But at the end of the day, you are going to have a natural instinct. You know, if that's going on. If there was nothing else before that narrative and a woman was just getting attacked, then do you know what I mean? We could see, and it was one particular side. It was just an attack, you know, regardless of the choking and or not. Then obviously there'd be something to protect because the person was innocent. But it's almost like this narrative of protect black women regardless of what happened.
True.
Right. Don't think. Yes.
Who the people involved are. It's a bit like
don't do any investigation. Don't use any initiative. Just align yourself
brothers. The black woman is God in the black community. That's the problem.
No, it's true actually, and again, I think even to be more specific, right? It's a certain type of black woman, because it's not. It doesn't seem to. This doesn't really seem to happen with the more calmer, demeanored black woman. It doesn't seem to happen that much compared to what you'd call it, Keisha. You don't really see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, someone like my mum will go to these shops and, you know, do, you know, nice, pleasant business. Oh, thank you. You know, hey, you know, most black women are doing good business, like being good consumers.
Because I'm pretty sure if it was happening overall, number one, I just don't see this whole narrative. If you listen to some people, you'd think, you know, I've had people from America tell me, or I hear what's happening in the UK, and it's like black women are being attacked, and I'm like, shut up. No, they're not, bruv. No, they're not. Like, just stop it now. Just stop it. And you know what? I see more black.
There's more black women attacking than there.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. But I was gonna say Keisha's. I'm trying not to say black.
No, all black women. But yeah, Keisha's.
Right, right.
Remember the one that happened in Brixton? Whoever remembers the one that happened in Brixton, where that woman was kicking the shopkeeper and telling him to lick out this and do all this kind of thing, and trashing his shop, and going on with all kind of madness until she claiming that she'd been touched or something. I don't believe that happened, right? Right. But if that's the case, let's just say that really happened. Why didn't she just get her son to come do up mash up the shop, burn it up, and he still called the police? Right? She stayed until the police come. You know what I mean? And then when you start putting hands on it, you know, black people start saying, "Oh yeah, well, we've picked on racism. We've just happened to a white woman it's all this kind of dumb shit." And if you go to a white area, you see them handle the white woman the same way. Yeah. If that white woman wants to go on like she don't want to do as she's told, then they're gonna exercise things.
I think, okay, cool. I think that leads into the next question. Like, do we think that black women are being targeted? Like, what do we all think? Like, generally speaking, in the UK, the major cities are black women, you know, because that's a component of this article, this discussion. Are black women targeted by, you know, shopkeepers, security, you know, often for, I guess, no reason, just targeted? Do we think that black women are targeted in the UK?
Let me go first. In my experience, right? No, in my experience in London, at least, if there's any black people that are being targeted, it's more black men. I feel like we're much more in the microscope than black women. I tend to find more people are scared of black women or intimidated by black women there's been many a time when I've been in an environment and either a black woman might be having a go at cussing someone or even speaking quite loud in volume, not aggressively or not. And you can feel the whole room goes quiet, first of all. And secondly, if you look on people's faces and you can feel the energy, it's like everybody's scared to even say boo. Like, I've seen a black woman cuss out a room of multiple people and everybody's gone quiet. And it's like, do you know what I mean? So if anything, I feel like I've seen it in workplaces where, and don't get me wrong, white women in their own ways get away with a lot of stuff, you know, in their own version. But you take, for example, workplaces. I've seen the most outspoken and a lot of times out of turn people I've seen speak to, including a senior member of staff, black women. And I don't know if people feel like because they're considered what you'd call a double minority, so being black and a woman, so they can't say anything, or they're a bit more cautious to try and do anything without, you know, for repercussion. But the most people I've seen cuss out, and bear in mind, you know, I work in, you know, the airport's BA, like some senior people, and again, it's not all the time, but when I've seen it happen, I've seen it with no remorse. It's that whole "you can't tell me nothing" type of attitude, and it's like there's a time and a place. But when it comes to that, and especially if a black woman, or I should say, Keisha particularly, feels slighted or feels disrespected or what? Oh, bruv, if she feels that she's got to let you know about it, she's gonna let you know about it. Do you know what I mean? And I still, even up to white women, and I've known some sort of mouthy white women, but I've never seen anybody get away with that more than a black woman ever. Not of my own two eyes, anyway.
No, you're right. And the thing is, the mouthy white women choose where to use it, whereas black women use it anywhere. Yeah, black women use it anywhere and anything. Example, today I bought some drinks at Farm Foods up here in Newton this morning. One going where I was going, and this black woman, I heard her say pork scratching. I was like, I asked her in a joking fashion, "Why would you buy why would you get pork scratching?" And she just replied to me with a bad attitude. It's not for me. Oh, and anyway, it's none of your business. I just like, is it? It's just like, well, she told me her business.
He's right though. Like, why are you asking her business though?
No, but I'm saying is it wasn't nothing. That was just a gist. I'm a vegan, so it's just a gist of a thing. But she told me her business, yeah, and then told me that my business never made sense to me,
right?
Yeah, because if I ask you something and you say that's a bit personal, and you tell me it's none of my business, you're not going to tell me your business and then say, you know what, it's none of my business. So which, you know what I mean, I was just like, it was nothing biggie, but you know what I mean, like I was saying, black women literally have attitude for almost the most trivial thing. Black women in the black community, black women have taken out chivalry out of it.
Okay. Let me ask that to James Talks as well, because I want to get his views in. James, do you think black women are victims in this country?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, from whatever you've seen in your experience, like, do you see women being black women?
I would say no. I can't really think out of any outstanding way where I could say, "Oh, hey, they're a victim." No, like the only place I could really think, and you know, I've lived a bit, right, is maybe in neurodiversity. That's probably about it. But in a general public type of thing, I would probably say no. I really haven't seen it, and if I did, it would stick out in my head, and it just doesn't.
Right. Fair enough. We're coming up to the 2 hour mark, so we're gonna round it off soon. But I appreciate everyone's point of view because everyone came in with dynamic viewpoints. But someone suggested that perhaps black people, talking about the business front, black people are just not good with business. And I mentioned that it seems to be like business ownership is declining, right? Because again, if you were to walk the same streets that I showed you earlier, 20 years ago, most of these shops were owned by Africans, Caribbeans, all the barbershops, the hair shops, the salons. But now, even in those salons, even in those barbershops, you got a little Asian portion. So Chinese people typically doing the nails and stuff. So like, is it just that black people for some reason are just not good at making good business? What do you guys think?
No, we got black barber shops, but
But are they good businesses though? That's the point. Are they good barbershops to begin with? Like, in terms of booking in terms of your waiting and wasting your time, are they good businesses?
I would say a lot of them are good.
Mhm.
As for the sisters with the hair salons, a lot of them rent from Asians or whatever. They you know what I mean. But they get paid good money. But again, if you listen to black women, they will complain about the same thing. But then it's as if our sisters like bad customer service, because that's exactly what you get from a black hair salon. They don't like sisters that have gone the professional route to be professional. They've not stayed open long. It's like they like the Jamaican type of hair salon. They're the ones that you see open at 12 o'clock at 12 and 1 o'clock, and you're wondering what the hell are these people doing. Which I mean, it's just like that's just not professional itself. You don't open till 12, 1 o'clock. You don't show me where you have the white women that have their hair salon open past 6 o'clock, even 7 o'clock.
Those Eastern European shops are at the crack of dawn. They're open, like they're cleaning up, preparing, like ready.
No, whereas the black salon that opens at 12 o'clock midday or 1 o'clock. Yeah.
In my experiences, the black barbershops are getting better. Like my personal barber booking system, open from like 10, which is reasonable. Doesn't like ad hoc, like last minute arrangements. So from my experience, it's getting better. But generally speaking, I don't know. And I think in this age, in this time, if your business is not, open bang on, like competing with all these other bigger enterprises, then you're gonna fail. So, and that leans into the whole disrespect thing, I think. Because when it comes, if there's ever a time or a place where Chinese people are going to Africans to enjoy Chinese food, in any reality, that is back to front. That is that is weird. So I'm just wondering how comes it happens so easily in the black communities, where black people are to get weaves, to get black soaps and creams. It's going to other people who are not black.
I think you have a point, because we can look at Africa as a perfect example, who's the breadbasket of the world. And when you look at it, it's like we don't have certain concierge skill, because like it or not, when the white people come in and they do stuff, they add, if you know what I'm talking about, like bathroom facilities, that kind of thing. Clean running water. It's kind of like we don't we don't have that complete kind of thing when doing things. It's like we kind of do stuff raggo. I mean, in Africa, you can supply a customer and you might not get paid for 9 months.
Mm.
You know, all these kind of things. Whereas in the Western countries, I think it's like 30 days.
Mm.
The average is 30 days. So you can be waiting for 9 months, 12 months, the next thing you know, the business is gone.
Right.
Before you, so there's this.
And you can't even file because when they're bankrupt, you can't. The judges can't. The court can't do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's and it's a lot of things. We can't trust each other. You know what I mean? That's one of the things as well. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, we try to do each other a bad turn, innit?
Right. I just want to ask the same question to JM or KB if they want to chime in. Is there a reason why you think so-called black businesses don't perform or don't kind of outlast or, you know, have that legacy that we kind of need as people to rely on, really?
Okay, well,
What, do you want to go, bro?
I'll go. Even though I'm not one of these big business gurus, I'm qualified in business. I have a diploma in business, and I of a basic level, and I will say that really what I see with a lot of black businesses is, first, the big mistake they're making is they're trying to sell race instead of products of value, right? Because it's always black owned, black this, black that, when in reality what they're doing is handicapping themselves, right, in the general market. Because in the end of the day, a business, you just want to make money, and I don't understand why you will just sell a product to one demographic of people, right? Then also you would complain about how a lot of black people say, oh, black people don't support. In some cases, that is true, right? But if that is the case, why would you make a product only for the same demographic that you think doesn't support you, right? Because that's a common talking point you hear. Oh, black people don't support, or we don't support each other, or so on and so forth, right? Then another thing I would say as well is customer service is not, it's not the greatest, to the point that there is TV shows you could watch where there is jokes about customer service and parodies of customer service, right? Is a telling sign about, in certain cases, of how reality is with some black businesses. Another thing as well is I've worked in a black business, and what I generally see is sometimes people just don't want to, they want to cut corners. And what I mean by cutting corners is doing the stuff that actually maintains the business for long term and actually makes profit. Right? Because an example is, I remember once the one business I worked in, and basically they didn't hire an accountant, which I think is absolute. I don't know what was going through their mind when they didn't hire an accountant. I was like, damn. Then I remember once where someone kept someone in the business working. They didn't do no work for a whole year, and I had to cuss them out to the point where the people that didn't work for a year, didn't do no work for a year, they were just lounging around, right? Not doing work. I had to cuss them out until they leave, and I try and explain to the person that owned the business that these people were just don't give a shit, basically. So I was on a WhatsApp chat, and I basically cussed them out, and I basically say this is disrespectful, yada yada yada.
You see, for me, sorry to cut you. For me, all this stems from the upbringing, man. The delayed gratification comes into place at a very young age. Whether you're going to take the easy route or you're going to take the hard route and persevere and get your dividends from that. So, like, I think most of the root cause of all of the problems that we kind of discuss or talk about, it comes back to parenting style. It comes back to family planning, and this is something that needs to be echoed. It comes back to that. So yeah, you raise a kid, you don't really discipline them in a way that is conducive for their growth and learning. I'm not talking about abusing them with a stick or a slipper, but train them, teaching them. If you don't come from that, then yeah, I mean, you're probably going to be a little bit reckless and not have the detail in the future.
That's true. I can name you a perfect example.
One sec, Arsenal. After James, one sec, Arsenal. One sec.
Right, and that is just how. That's why we just don't succeed. It's like, I don't know, we just keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, I already explained why the Black Wall Street, I think it's the Black Wall Street in Brixton, or the Black Silicon Valley in Brixton. I already know that's gonna fail because they've made it about blackness when in reality it's gonna be about value to present to the marketplace,
Right.
and how you can scale that product to as many people as possible instead of just 4% of the population in the UK. You're shooting yourself in the foot. That's what you're doing.
Right. Imagine calling Facebook a J company. Like, this is built by J and this is only for J, or type of,
Right.
Like, yeah, you
But
don't
yeah,
do that.
Slavery mentality, and we take that into
right.
business. That's what that
That's
comes down to.
really that. Yeah, I'm done talking. But yeah, that's really it. Could
Right.
pass it on.
Right. One sec, Arsenal. KB wanted to jump in on the whole business thing before we kind of round it off.
Yeah. See, I'm going to say unfortunately, but it might be one of the few strategies we quote unquote got left. But it's one of those where if I saw someone earlier right in the chat about, when we're consumers, sometimes with businesses we get what's called the black tax. We sometimes pay a bit more. I agree with that. I believe that's a thing. I believe to the point where, like, I've even had to explain to people, like, they even asked me, why do you pay that price for that? It's like, look, it's the black tax, just whatever. In terms of some business, if there's black people out there now that want to do business, that want to start and create businesses, and they've got any sort of doubts of these, it's one of them where at the moment we might have to pay the black tax on certain businesses, on certain products, on business in terms of property, if you're serious, because unfortunately our reputation when it comes to business is in tatters, right? It is in tatters, and that doesn't help. And even in terms of things I'm planning, unfortunately I already know that I'm going to overpay on some of the things I'm going to put into what I'm doing. But it's just one of those, until we get more of a level playing field, then we have more leverage to maneuver, and more businesses we get, we can go towards what you was mentioning earlier, Falcon, is some sort of remnants or image of some sort of power. Because even in just the numbers, if numbers of various, and I don't use the word black businesses, but all businesses owned by black people for doing various services and goods, not just for ourselves, the visuals will speak for themselves. You guys have also touched on something else, which it worries me more than even people wanting to open up businesses or the amount of black people that own businesses, and that's this pride thing, because it's been talked about, and Jesse, you talked about it, and I think the last time you spoke is, for example, the whole service and customer service type of industry. Black people may not want to admit it, but it's almost like we feel like that sort of role is beneath us, right? Now, not to say it's not the most, I'm not saying it's the most glamorous type of roles that, serving and or, customer service of any type, not necessarily, but it is necessary for every business that has a customer base, a public customer and consumer base. It is necessary. And for it to be necessary, we would need a core of the fact of people that are long trained experts. And the irony is, and I don't know what the figures are, but there's been many black people I've known since my whole working life that are either in or been in something to do in and around with customer service. So realistically, we should be known for having excellent customer service. The ironic thing about that is, and we're not.
But now everyone wants to be the CEO. Everyone wants to be the top dog.
Well, this is the thing, bruv. Nobody not realizing that it takes a whole pyramid to make this business work. And for example, let's say the customer service thing, those that have the extensive skills and the experience, and I think, we're gonna have to filter through how we determine how qualified those people are. But there should be a base of training. I think there's even this concept of being too prideful. it's almost like if that's my concept was going to work, the trainers would have to be not black. Like it's crazy. Like, because I think even on that level, there's this I don't know, race pride, internal race pride, that we can't even train or teach each other on a basic level without this whole attitude of, oh, who are you? We only seem to respect another black person if we either feel like they are more physically stronger than us, they've got more money than us, or we find them attractive. That's it.
That's true. Facts.
If we're going off that, then it's going to be really difficult to, because we need to start from scratch. Yeah, we need to start from scratch. We there's no point arguing or debating, oh, this is unfair under Asians and no, okay, we know the situation. Yeah, we know the situation. Like Jesse brought up, like Jan brought up, there's blueprints out there. We know what we need to do. We probably going to need to overpay. Well, there's going to be a lot of pushback. It's going to be slow. Our progress is going to be a bit slower because we've got a lot more to catch up on. A lot of it's our own fault, right? But the more people that do it, it will help become a push. And the more people that do it and then come together, they don't even have to. And that's another thing. Even if we do go into business, we all go and do the exact same business. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That's a great point. I mean, the Peckham High Street that I showed, like, you got one beauty shop across the road from another beauty shop next door to another beauty shop. It's like, where's the diversity?
Same thing. Yeah. And
I said that to somebody the other day. We seem to do the same businesses. We're either, if there's a black man, he's either a barber shop, or he owns it, or he's got a takeaway, right?
And you have it next to the other takeaway that's 2 minutes away. And going off what Jesse was saying with the sort of family dynamic and the sort of way they move forward in terms of the financial structure as a group, the group economics. And another thing with, I don't like to use them, but Asians and some other groups, but particularly Asians, is what I will say is something that can be taken from them as well, is not only is everyone playing their role, but for example, it was brought up like they may even be doing dodgy loans, but they've realized, okay, there's a bunch of us that want to do businesses. How do you get the businesses? Through the loans. So we need at least one person out of the group to learn how to, or study to be a bank manager. So even thinking of all the steps necessary, we need a distribution line. So we're going to need a whole bunch of and again, these whole beneath us roles and this perception. We need a whole bunch of black couriers. We need it to be a visual of, from this area or from this company, most of the couriers are black. If you want to go like that, if you want to go there with the whole black thing, we need couriers, we need trainers, we need all these customer service people, we need people that can we need physical security, we need cyber security, we need even more so, we need cleaners, we need contractors, we need to cover, even if we got one person in every single bit, and it's not impossible, in every single bit, like was being mentioned, there's a business without an accountant. That's one of the first things you get. You have someone to handle the finances. Actually, most companies have more than one accountant, and they offset each other. And you would think that a decently run business would have too much work for one accountant to do anyway, feasibly. So all of that to come and roll, because it's all good even having a good intention and even having one aspect of that and doing your business. But then what you're going to do when you want an accountant, when you want your finances arranged and sorted, when you need these other aspects, what are you going to end up doing? Outsourcing. Right. Then, and this is again where we lose our momentum again, because we haven't got anybody to fill the roles. We should be able to go again, if we want to go through this whole black thing, even if we're not painting our business as a black, as on the black forefront, and it's a general everybody business. If behind the scenes we're really going to do this black thing, we need a whole team of all of that. I want to be able to ring up my black IT guy when my stuff goes down, or if I need deliveries, the black courier, or when I need to train all my new staff, the black customer service area manager, who has been in customer service since he was 18 and he's now 45, and he was
Right.
wherever.
That what you're saying, right? It kind of goes into the whole idea of being pro-black again. With my opinion is that that whole pro-black ideal can't happen when you were an ethnic minority, man, because there's only so many people that can fulfill these roles or have these ambitions, and an ethnic minority is often, like you say, it seems like a lot of black people go into certain roles because there's a stereotype out there. So a lot of guys, when I was in uni, doing media or doing sports science because they were more physically inclined, right? And no one's really doing the really architecture, engineering, the computer science. So it's like, I mean, the whole makeup of how our businesses, quote unquote, might look like might not follow this whole pro-black idea that a lot of people seem to think, a black business must be, because the expertise we can't fulfill all the expertise that will make that business run like clockwork.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that a lot of these pro-black guys, and I wish them well with that ideology, needs to understand. I mean, they need to put intelligence into their, into that thought process, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like
you made a good point.
It's like we're winging it. It's like
right.
Because no matter what the business is, in my opinion, no matter what type of business you run, I think with every business on this planet, and in the very least, there's a few, even if it's 4 or 5 core principles that run along the same, no matter what you do. And it's like we tend to feel like we can kind of make it up as we go along, or this kind of, we don't have to do it that way. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that attitude if you have a plan in place, but you can't just say that and just wing it. Like, and then complain that it's not working.
True. Yeah,
because it's not working. There's no structure.
Well, yeah, because we're the only community that says, "Oh, there's a," that. How many times do you hear that's a white man's way of doing stuff? That's what the white man do. Let's go with the idea that the white man owns most of the things. If you're gonna overtake him, you're gonna have to follow him. You're gonna have to follow most of his principles to overtake him. If you understand what I'm saying. Another example, you look at the Chinese shops. You look at the Chinese when they have. You ever see a Chinese shop mirroring another Chinese shop? You don't. Whereas you'll see four Jamaican. You'll have loads of Jamaican takeaways around Brixton. You'll have loads of Jamaican takeaways around Peckham, and you'll have barber shop. You don't see the whites do it either.
Yeah. Even you're saying with the Chinese takeaway. Yeah, when you're saying that, when I think about it, right? Usually I see one in every, even if it's every small town, there's like one.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. That's a really good point. And even if black people were going to me, if it was going to be known for a certain thing, it's like we're not even doing that. Do you know what I mean? Because you could argue, okay, our food, but really overall, it's like, I think people would be more impressed to see a black person cook something that's not considered black food than ours, because it's still, even as much times have changed and people have taken in Caribbean and African culture, etc., and remnants of it, and we've grown up here and all this stuff. We're not known for, it's not known of, if the average the majority the demographic in this country is white. The average white person, even after they're drunk, doesn't think, "Oh, I could kill a patty." They don't. They don't think I could kill a rice and peas. It's not known. It's not known for even the whole haircut thing, even the whole and again I've brought this up way previously, but even the style of haircuts, it's changed into what you could maybe consider what was a more black or urban style now. Every race now, for example, males has a fade and a shape up and whatever else with their hair.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't always used to cut their hair like that, but even with that, we couldn't even monopolize our own hairstyles to the point where they observed, they sat back, learned how to cut like us. Is it always going to be of the 100% quality? It varies, but they got the core principle of shape up, fade. It looks the best on a male, no matter the race. And then they started setting up their own shops to the point where now you've got other races, and more power to them, that have barbershops, if you want to say sort of urban black centric, type of feel to them. And now they're being known for it. So we're not even known, I've known the odd non-black person to be like, and they've said it to me, in just even Asian people, like, if you want a proper haircut, go to a black barber. But it still wasn't enough to be like, if I want a haircut, go to a black. If I want a proper haircut, they wouldn't they would. I've heard some outrageous prices for people paying haircuts from a non-black barber. Outrageous prices, and they'll pay it no problem. We're still not even known as that. Okay, so what next? What are we known to? What we're going to? What's the one thing that every race thinks I need to go to black people for that? What is it?
Right. And with that being said, man, that is a good segue for a future stream. What is the next enterprise? What is the next thing that, black people should be into? You know what I mean? But guys, sorry, man, I'm phasing out. I'm struggling. Unfortunately, I'm getting old, so I'm going to have to call it. But I'm going to let everyone have a final word. If you can just sum it up in a minute or two, what you make of the situation, what a solution might be, anything you want, just to sum it up. And then I'm afraid we couldn't call it a night, okay? But anyone wants to go first with closing thoughts?
Oh, I was just going to signal out. I think I just kind of gave mine. I was just going to say thank you for having me on, Falcon. It's nice to hear you live again.
Yeah, always, man.
It's a great topic. Big up everyone in the stream, and everyone have a good night.
Appreciate KB Jones, man. Salute to you. Another UK content creator. So go check out his channel. KB, feel free to drop your links in the chat as well. Appreciate KB Jones with his views. Anyone wants to go next with closing thoughts on this topic?
I'll go next.
Sure.
What I was going to say to you is that one of the things that we've not mentioned is the fact that we open. You know what I mean. Sometimes we're open, sometimes we're not. Because there was a guy in Birmingham had a vegan shop, porridge, everything, lovely. But then sometimes you'd go and he's not open.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's and
it's a lack of discipline.
Yeah, it's a lack of this. Yeah, it's exactly what you say. It's a lack of discipline. But then when you tell the Pan Africans and the overalls, they go, he's not like the Asians. He hasn't got this family member, and that there's always an excuse. And like Larry Elder says, black people's problem is excuses. There's always an excuse why he couldn't do better. He owed the guy threw him out. I think he owed 3,000 in rent or something, or 5,000 in the end, and that's just unprofessional. You know what I mean? Exactly like you. To be honest,
I think when I look at typical kind of Asian business model, I can see that they work together. You got grandma covering the tills every now and then. There's like someone's around the clock working, right? I just think that a lot of black people we just have a selfish kind of demeanor, man. Everyone wants to be like the one and only top dog, the chief, right? The top person who stunts on everyone else. There's no community identity. There's no thinking of uplifting everyone else. People don't seem to value that, and I see it very close. I see it in close people too. In my personal life, like it's just selfishness, narcissism. People want to be exalted, and we see the results of that. It's failure.
Of course, of course. We revel in dereliction.
But hey, UK Arsenal, man, it's been a pleasure having you up. I hope to see you again when I go live again.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Peace to you. Peace.
Peace, man.
And last but not least, we got JM Talks. If you can just give us, your last minute kind of round off of the topic, what you think, etc., etc.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old too, man. 32.
Yeah, man.
32. But basically, what I would say is to be honest, like it's like the black community just keeps proving its point time and time after again. Another reason why I left and stopped doing these black community stuff, because I'm a positive person, right? But I'm also a realistic person. There's certain black people I'll deal with, who I'll work with, whatever, cool. But this idea of a community, I just don't think it exists. Maybe from the Rinrush generation, I think it ended from there, that kind of communal part with the old folks, because they had no choice but to stick together in certain cases. But when I really look at, say, millennials, Gen Z, don't know about Project Alpha yet because they have to grow up a bit more. But it just is what it is. It's, this is why in my YouTube channel, I didn't really want to, like, for example, on my YouTube channel, I don't really talk about Black British topics, because what tends to happen is I'll just get into a negative mindset. So that's why I don't generally talk about stuff like this unless it's on your channel or someone else's, because it can get very mentally draining and exhausting. Just going on television and seeing countless examples of pretty much them proving my point, and even other people from, let's say, other groups with certain political affiliations proving their point also, to the point where it's like, how can I really put it? Sometimes you would think that I'm a right, and I'm not. I'm just a guy who has independent thoughts and just think things at a logical standpoint, and try and not look at it at a bias. So that's really my last word about that, really.
But JM, man, it's always a pleasure coming on, man. JM Talks, another UK content creator, so check out his channel. Feel free to put your links in the chat, brother JM. But salute to you, JM. Hope you have a good evening. Okay, appreciate everyone who came through. Everyone in the chat who added to this discussion. I hope you found it to be useful, meaningful, or at least entertaining. To be honest, man, I'm in a pre-recorded mindset this month at least, so I don't know when I'll do another live, but my people wanted to do a live on this, so I hope it was good enough. Please do like the stream if you enjoyed it. Comment your thoughts below after we've gone live. Let us know what you think about the situation. But yeah, peace to everyone who came up, and peace to everyone who came through in the chat as well. So I hope to see you in the next video. If you want to watch another video, feel free to check this one I've just posted in the chat below. This is my latest video, which I think will be quite meaningful to some people. Check that out. But with that being said, I wish you all a good night, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.